My name is David Pierre, and Baltimore City was a process in the sense of what landed us here. My best friend, him and his wife, they've been living here at the time probably for almost 7 years. And they would invite us over, and it was just casual. It was never an intention to say, hey, this is somewhere that you need to live. Because it was actually around the time with Freddie Gray, like at the precipice of the entire situation. We came to watch a fight, and my wife and I were driving down, I think it was Utah, or driving up Utah, and I just looked at the houses and the architectural the nuances, and it just caught my attention. So at that point, I started to ask more questions about the area, and came back, just kept coming back, and got to the point where I found myself really attracted to the neighborhood. The other main reason was also not only just the architectural, beauties that we have in the neighborhood, but also its location, access to the park, its location to different parts of the city, and my intention of making sure that my kids were growing up in an area that was diverse. Not just culturally, but socioeconomically. This neighborhood has been great, and I say that again because of the people. So when we first moved out here, there was just small things. I was super eager and wanting to get engaged as soon as possible, and really started to link up with residents that have been here for a few years and other residents that have been here for several years. And some of the things that we immediately wanted to start working on were beautification of the neighborhood. So what areas can we target? How can we get neighbors involved and get residents involved? And we actually had a meeting. We set up a meeting. It was a couple gentlemen in the neighborhood. We just said, hey, let's just all meet up and just talk and just introduce each other and talk about some of the things that we love about the neighborhood and some of the things that we want to work on. And that sparked a sort of a movement in the sense that I really feel a strong bond to these families, right? It's not odd for me to go for a run and literally, say hi or pass by like 3 or 4 people that I know. Everything's in close reach. I feel like I have friends in every different parts of the city. So for me, the transition has been pretty smooth in the sense of making sure that I'm part of the community. That was big to me. When you have a lot of people, right, especially in densely populated areas, you have a lot of thoughts. Everyone has ideas of how to fix things. And what I found to be most helpful was gaining advice from those that have actually implemented strategies and have found the most effective ways to get things done. And oftentimes the most effective ways to get things done is to galvanize the folks that have these particular niches or these particular interests. If someone there may be very focused on beautification, and someone else might be very focused on safety. Someone else might be very focused on activating green spaces. So how can we bring everyone together with one particular common goal? It's actually been a very, very good lesson for me. Just how do you organize as a community, how you get others to be engaged as a community, and how you do that in a sense that doesn't alienate others, right? Because everyone's sort of way of being active, it might be different, right? They may not necessarily be out there cleaning with you, but there's a different way that they can be involved and so on. And I think that's what's been most a life learning experience for me. Some of the things that we are planning on are doing neighborhood walks. All right, we just get we can pick a day of the week, at least once a month or once every other month, where we just could do a neighborhood walk or neighborhood stroll, particularly in areas that we feel needs more lighting, needs more attention, things of that nature. So no, I think it's a little bit of both. We try to align with what's happening already, and the other thing is just, we just plan something and we just do it ourselves. Druid Hill Park is a sanctuary for me. It's a refuge. I go there to exercise. I go there for walks. I go there to just take some time to reflect. I take my kids there. We play, and it's just always an adventure for me because there's different things that I'm finding out about the park every single time that I go through there. One of the most important times for me was it was a pretty stressful day for me, and I just got my sneakers and just was able to run through the park. And running through the park, I was able to stand at the top near the mansion, overlooking sort of the greenery, the green space, and just seeing so many different families, and just realizing how blessed I am, how blessed we were to have access to things like these. Yeah, Sunday you see a little bit of everything, and it's always an adventure. But You'll see those gentlemen back there with the electric or remote cars. Last couple winters, whenever we get a good snowstorm, we'll try to get a couple families together and we'll just use this as a slide, sort of hill for us to slide down. So that's been fun too. I like it because it's close to home. If it gets too cold, I can just run back with the kids. Yeah. Personally, I do believe that it's a sort of understanding the jewels and the treasures that we have right in our backyard. I do think that there is a underappreciation for an asset as big as this that we have. And I do believe that people are starting to realize that, understand, okay, this is what we can actually use this park. Through this park, it can be cultivated for so many different things. So I think, personally, it's underappreciated. During the height of the pandemic, my son and I were on our way to the park. We rode our bike, we did what we had to do, and on our way back from the park, crossing Druid Park Lake Drive, my son and I, it was green, it turned red. We waited for the sign to say, you know, walking, we can walk across. And just a slide of my eye, I looked to my left, there's a car basically coming towards us, like full speed. And I can hear the driver must have pressed on the brakes so hard and can hear the screeching tires, right? So at that moment, it just flashed, like my life flashed in front of me. And what was most scary to me was my son's, who was in front of me with his bike. So anyway, that moment was extremely frightening. The car stopped right before he got to us, and we just walked across like shivering, and like multiple cars pulled aside. Like, I don't even know why you're alive. Oh my goodness, like what just happened? It was just one of the scariest times in my life and my son's life. But what to me was frightening was just that every day, like when I'm running through there, when I'm walking through there, this is not something that happens by chance. This happens quite frequently, where cars are either rushing through or the lights are just changing, they're asynchronous, things are happening. So, what's important to me now that the park is being renovated, and our thoughts of say what can we add to improve this park, what we can add to make it more accessible, for me is safety. How accessible it is for the families that live on this side to be able to cross over to a park and just enjoy the park. And I'm not an urban planner, but for me it's just, okay, let's just look at traffic studies and see, okay, what's happening, how long does it take a typical family to cross the street in a safe way that feels safe? What are we doing with the crosswalks? How are we illuminating it and making sure that everyone knows exactly where to cross into the park? So entry points. The other part is for me personally, it's just like the two or three access points that we have to the park. They're probably one of the most congested areas, right? You have traffic coming from so many different places. It's very confusing. So how can we simplify it in a way that it's just very easy for families and individuals to walk across? We're just trying to get across the street to enjoy the park. So I think there's been many conversations with engaging residents of the area, community stakeholders and so on, and figuring out, okay, what is the best way for us to use that space? What do we want? What is the best way for us to cross over without feeling unsafe and things of that nature?